Welcome to another video in our series on how to use the Structural Tools app to build structural analysis models. So in the previous videos up until now, we have looked at trusses, we've looked at planar frames, we've looked at how we can look at pattern loading and results envelopes, and we've also looked at combined structures. In this video, I want to show an example of how we can look at flexible supports, or how we can model flexible or spring supports in our structures. So as usual, I've got the model on the left here that we're going to build out in this video, and it's a very, very simple model. The only thing that's in any way, I suppose, interesting about it really is that we have a spring support, a vertical spring at node 3 and node 5, and so it's pretty straightforward to implement. So let's just rattle through it now on the right hand side here. So in my demo models project, I'll go and create a new model. It's going to be a 2D frame model, and that's the solver that we're using, and it's going to be, let's just call it flexible supports. All right. Now, again, as I say, it's a pretty simple model. The spans here are 5 meters, so 5, 5, 5, and 5. So just to quickly add those in, I'm going to change my grid spacing to 5, zoom out here a little bit, and just start adding nodes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The last node is 3 meters to the right, so I'll change that back to a 1 meter grid and then just add in a node here at 3. Okay, excellent. Now I want to add my members. In fact, before I add the members, let's deal with the material. So I just want to match the material as well, because this particular structure is actually from, there's a full lecture on how to build the code that solves this using the direct stiffness method. If I go to my resources here, just to flag up that this structure comes from this lecture, which is from our beam and frame analysis course using the direct stiffness method. So if we click on this guy here, we're brought over to the relevant lecture where we work through the code that actually solves this structure. So again, if you want to dig in behind the solver to understand exactly how the structural analysis actually works behind the scenes, head over to this lecture and we walk our way through it. And of course, if you want to dive much deeper into the topic, you can take that full course, which goes from start to finish through how the direct stiffness method can be used on 2D beam and frame structures. Okay, so let's get back to our reference structure. Right, so we have all of our nodes in. Now what I'll do next is change my material Young's modulus to 200 gigapascals. I want a custom section, so I'll come in here, just say custom. We'll just call it beam. There's only one type of section in this particular model. The area is 30 centimeters squared. The second moment of area is 30,000 centimeters to the power 4. For visual purposes, I'll just put in a height of 300. And that's our beam. Let's get rid of the previous section. So now all of our sections will be that particular section. Let's go and add our members next. I'll just zoom out again. So we want to just add in our members. So we're adding in by default a frame member as opposed to a truss axially loaded member. So we'll leave that as frame and we'll just add in our members here. Again, pretty simple model to build up, right? Supports on the left hand side here is going to be a built-in support. Now we can get into our flexible supports, right? So I have a vertical spring at node 3. So what I'll do here is come down to node 3, and instead of saying that I'm restrained in the Y direction, so if I add that, you'll see it just gives me a roller. I don't really want a roller. What I actually want to do is leave that. In fact, I'll delete that support and I'll come back in and start again, and I'll just provide, instead of ticking the box to say it's fully restrained, I'll just provide a stiffness. Now if I refer back over to my reference model and look at my supports, I have a stiffness of, well, this is actually a proportion of the Young's modulus times the cross-sectional area. That's where this number actually comes from. So I'm literally just going to copy it across. I think over in the original code, I said that the stiffness of the spring was 0.1 times E times A, Young's modulus times the cross-sectional area. That's how I worked out the A value for stiffness. And that happened to be this particular number here. So I'm just going to drop that in there, say that it applies to node 3, and add, and there we get our spring shown up in here. And we can do the exact same thing for node 5 as well. We'll come down, we'll select node 5 and add the same stiffness in and add that, and there we have it. We've got our springs. Now I think what I did there earlier on is actually delete that support. I didn't mean to do that, so let's just add that back in. We can add those kind of fixed supports or a fixed pin or roller by just clicking on the node. We want to add our springs. If we want to add springs, we put in an actual stiffness in the table down here. All right, and that's pretty much the new stuff for this particular model. Now all we've got to do is add some loads. Again, pretty straightforward. I want a node total load on node 2. We'll just use the default dead load case, and it wants to be a negative 100 kilonewtons. We can come in and then add our distributed load on the last 2 spans. So we'll say dead load on member 4. It's going to be a minus, what was it, 20? Minus 20. And we'll add the same onto span 5. And then the last thing we want, which we haven't actually seen yet, is a moment applied at a node. So we can come back into our nodal actions and we can say on node 5, this time we want a moment, and that moment is going to be 75. And that's actually the wrong node. It wants to be node 6. So I'm going to come in here, add it to node 6 instead, and delete it from node 5. Okay, excellent. So now our model on the right matches our model on the left. We can collapse down that panel, save our model, and solve. Okay, excellent. So we have our full set of results. Let's go full screen on this guy and zoom our model in. Okay, so let's amp up the deformed shape or the deflected shape just to see what we're looking at here. So we can see our deflected shape. Now, although there will be some vertical deflection here at these spring locations, we're not actually seeing it because that vertical deflection, the springs are so stiff, the vertical deflection is not appreciable by comparison to, it's not significant by comparison to the flexural deflection. What we might do in a second is come in and change or reduce the stiffness of these springs, and we'll start to see this point deflect down here. But for now, let's just cycle through our results nice and quickly. There will be no axial force in this thing, obviously enough. We have our reactions shown. We can also see our force reactions at the spring, which will just be the product of obviously the displacement times the stiffness of the spring. And we can look at our bending moment diagram and our shear force diagram. Okay, so all pretty standard stuff really. All I really wanted to do here was demonstrate the construction of a spring support. So I'm going to get rid of that. Just while we're here, it might make sense to come back into our supports and let's reduce that stiffness by a factor of 100. Well, let me see. Let's reduce just this one and we'll leave this one as it is. So I will collapse that down. Now, because I've changed something in my model, my results have disappeared. I don't have those results anymore because we never really want a set of results shown here that are not consistent with the current state of the model. So we'll see we have no results, so we've got to resolve the model. So let me see, do we see any noticeable deflection here? Not really. Let's reduce that spring stiffness way down because I just want to see this deflection at this point here reduced down. So we'll go back over to our supports panel and let's reduce this way down by a further factor of 100. Let's save and solve this guy again. Look at our deflection. And now we can start to see, because we've reduced that spring stiffness, we can start to see our beam essentially deflecting down at the spring here as the spring compresses. Okay, excellent. And that is pretty much all we wanted to cover in this particular video. So over the course of these few video tutorials here, hopefully you've got a good sense of how you can use the current 2D solver to help you understand structural behavior and to get you some fairly quick results. Where this is really helpful is when you're actually learning, right? When you're learning how to solve these problems, whether you're using virtual work or just the equations of statics, or you're using the direct stiffness method, you're writing your own codes. It's really nice to be able to have a nice simple tool, well, relatively simple tool like this, to be able to generate a set of results to compare your work against. And that was fundamentally the original motivation behind building this set of tools. So we'll leave it there for now, and I'll be back again fairly soon with another video adding to this series as I start to push out more different solvers. Again, if you're interested in the trajectory of where this suite of tools is going, in fact, let me jump back over to point you to the video again, which is this guy here. You can see that there's obviously a much more elaborate model in the thumbnail for that video because that is one of the other solvers that is not currently live at the time I'm recording this, but it's definitely in development. It exists, it's there, and I'm working on it in the background. So as I push out more of these different solvers, you'll see more and more of these videos where I highlight different features and show you how to use the solvers to do different kinds of analyses. So that's it for now. I'll see you in the next one.